Russian modern aircraft are nothing more than costly paperweights, equipped with cutting-edge fighters like the Su-57 and powerful bombers like the Su-34. On paper, they should own the skies. But instead of dominating the battlefield, Russian pilots can only resort to lightning-fast hit-and-run attacks, barely staying over targets for seconds before retreating. So why aren't the skies ruled by these modern aircraft? Today, on Modern Military Moments, we're diving into one of the biggest military mysteries of our time. Why has Russia's mighty Air Force failed to control Ukrainian airspace? When Russia launched its invasion in February 2022, military analysts worldwide expected swift air dominance. Russia possessed thousands of aircraft, experienced pilots, and advanced technology. Yet here we are years later, and Ukrainian forces continue to operate with surprising freedom. The Russian Air Force hasn't achieved the air superiority that military doctrine suggests should be fundamental to any major operation. This isn't just an academic question. It's reshaping how we think about modern warfare and the role of air power in the 21st century. The first piece of this puzzle lies in a technology that's revolutionizing battlefield dynamics: man-portable air defense systems, or MANPADS. These shoulder-fired missiles represent a dramatic shift in military capability. No longer are ground forces limited by the large, cumbersome anti-aircraft of the past. Think about the economics here. A single Stinger missile costs just shy of $80,000. A Russian Su-34 bomber? That's an aircraft just over $35 million. When Ukrainian soldiers can potentially down an advanced fighter jet with a weapon that costs less than a new family SUV, the entire calculus of air warfare changes. Western nations flooded Ukraine with these systems early in the conflict: American Stingers, Soviet-era Iglas, and British Starstreak missiles. These weapons don't just shoot down aircraft, they fundamentally alter pilot behavior. Russian aviators now face a deadly choice: get close enough to be effective or stay safe and sacrifice accuracy. The result is a completely different kind of air war. Instead of the sustained air campaigns we've seen in conflicts like the Gulf War, Russian aircraft now operate in quick, nervous strikes. Pilots approach targets at extremely low altitude, sometimes just 150 feet off the ground, drop their ordnance, and immediately retreat. Imagine being a Ukrainian soldier with a MANPADS system. You hear aircraft approaching, grab your 40-pound missile launcher, sprint into the open while potentially under fire, acquire a target moving at hundreds of miles per hour, and have maybe 5 seconds to get a lock and fire. It's an incredibly difficult task, but the mere possibility keeps Russian pilots looking over their shoulders. But external threats aren't the only problem plaguing Russian aviation. The continuous stress of combat operations has revealed serious internal weaknesses. Russian pilots typically receive about 100 flight hours annually, significantly less than their NATO counterparts who often log 150 to 200 hours. This training deficit becomes critical during extended operations. In the first 8 months of the conflict, Russian forces flew an estimated 34,000 combat missions, an enormous operational tempo that pushed both aircraft and crews to their limits. The results have been tragic and revealing. A series of crashes in late 2022 highlighted these strains. One Su-25 crashed during takeoff, another Su-25 struck an apartment building during a training flight, and yet another Su-30 dove into a residential area in Siberia. These weren't combat losses, they were peacetime training accidents that suggest deeper systemic problems. Perhaps most critically, Russia faces a maintenance and supply crisis that Western sanctions have severely exacerbated. Modern military aircraft are incredibly complex machines requiring specialized components, many of which Russia previously imported from Western nations. When sanctions cut off access to advanced semiconductors, precision components, and specialized tools, the Russian aviation industry found itself scrambling for alternatives. Reports suggest some pilots have resorted to taping commercial GPS devices to their cockpits, a far cry from the integrated navigation systems these aircraft were designed to use. This maintenance crisis creates a vicious cycle. As more aircraft require repairs, the demand for scarce parts increases, leading to cannibalization of other aircraft and further reducing the overall fleet size. This aviation struggle has cascading effects across the entire Russian military operation. Modern combined arms warfare depends on air support to protect ground forces, disrupt enemy logistics, and provide reconnaissance. Without reliable air cover, Russian armor, artillery, and infantry units have found themselves repeatedly exposed to Ukrainian attacks. The inability to establish air dominance has forced Russia to rely more heavily on artillery and long-range missile strikes, tactics that are less precise and often less effective than close air support would be. The situation illustrates how quickly military advantages can evaporate when faced with determined opposition and effective countermeasures. Russia's Air Force, while still present over the battlefield, operates under constraints that would have been unimaginable to military planners just a few years ago. This conflict is rewriting the book on air power and asymmetric warfare. It demonstrates that technological superiority means little without the training, logistics, and operational freedom to employ it effectively. The mystery of lackluster Russian air power isn't really a mystery at all. It's a case study in how modern warfare has evolved. When cheap, effective defensive systems meet maintenance challenges, training deficits, and supply chain disruptions, even the most advanced Air Force can find itself struggling to achieve its objectives. As this conflict continues, military analysts worldwide are taking notes. The lessons learned here will influence Air Force training, procurement, and doctrine for decades to come. What do you think has been the most significant factor in limiting Russian air effectiveness? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to Modern Military Moments for more analysis of how warfare is evolving in the 21st century.